Katherine Black reacts. Hey soap fans. So the aftermath of Corriedale don't make a lot of sense to me. We've got quite a bit to unpack here. So big crash, conglomeration of Emmerdale and Coronation Street. Half the cast of each programme were in this crash in the middle of Yorkshire somewhere. So we're going to do Corrie first, and we've got 2 videos on Corrie, and I will be back with Emmerdale. So Todd and Theo are back together. These are the couple where Theo is abusing Todd. Domestic abuse, behind closed doors. People are starting to get an inkling, but really it was only Billy who was left for dead in the minibus. Theo could have rescued him, but he didn't. So they're back together, and Theo is convincing Todd that it's all his fault. Todd's been an absolute spineless wimp, because Theo's convincing him that it was his fault that the minibus set off early. And it's all his fault that Billy's dead, and Todd's just rolling over and taking it like a whipped puppy. Shona and David have had the baby. Little Harper, named after the surgeon, has been born. We get this visual of this brown blob. She's born with a big mass, a tumour on her throat. So she's had a tracheostomy, and she's got this great big mass, and we just see this big blob of plasticine, brown plasticine, that could look like a baby in a certain light. But anyway, she's going to be operated on in 2 months. They've got a breathing. Mother and baby have both come through the operation fine. They've got a breathing, and they're going to take the tumour away in 2 months. All good. So after 10 years of Shona being in the show, and never, ever, ever mentioning once that she had a sister to anybody, Jodi turns up. Jodi's Shona's sister, who just happens to be in the hospital when Shona has the baby. So the sisters never existed up until this point. Even David doesn't know. But that's not the only long-lost relationship this week. In comes Jodi, never been heard of before. They decide to bring in a new character. Let's make her Shona's sister. Now, I actually Googled these two because they look so alike. The casting's actually really good. I wondered if it was mother and daughter in real life, but it isn't, not related. So we've got Shona's long-lost sister, Jodi. After the crash, Carl has moved Debbie into the driver's seat. They've both been drinking. Carl was as drunk as a skunk. Debbie jumped in the car to try and stop him. He sped off, and after the crash, unconscious Debbie has been moved from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. Kevin, Debbie's taking the full blame. She knows full well that Carl was driving, but she's playing on dementia, says she doesn't remember, had a concussion, doesn't remember. Kevin wants her to check her bruising, because where the seatbelt has bruised her, it would show which side of the car she was on, but she says she has no bruising. She has. This is bad writing, because the doctors at the hospital, the nursing staff, are trained to report back to the police on anything like this. She's being had up for drink driving and causing death under dangerous driving. The first thing they'd have seen is the big black bruise showing that she was in the driver's seat. Bad writing. Kevin knew about it, but apparently the trained doctors, nurses, hospital staff didn't. Go figure. And it all comes out about the stolen money. So Carl, as well as having a gay affair on Abby, who has left Kevin, Carl's brother, stick with it, he's been stealing money from the hotel that his sister owns, Debbie, that he's been working and he's taken himself up the ranks to be finance manager. Got all the account details, been creaming off thousands, 20 grand. Put it in a bag, ready to disappear before the crash. Abby has stolen it and spent it. She's cleared off all her debts and she's donated the rest to a hospice. Debbie's not bothered, she just wants to protect Carl. So when it all came out, Debbie's playing dumb and saying that she's given Carl this money. She hasn't. So Carla and Lisa are still split up. They haven't got back together. And that's because Lisa admitted sleeping with Becky when Carla moved out of her house after moving them in. And then Becky inveigling a way in. Becky and Lisa slept together. There was still a lot of love there and it was all very sweet. So they slept together more than once. So Lisa visits Becky in prison. Why? As Carla says to her, if she's dead to you, why go visit her? But she does, and Becky blackmails Lisa. Becky was a bent copper. Did a lot of dodgy dealings, was involved with a gang, a lot of backhanders. When Becky and Lisa were married, they paid the mortgage off early. They had a lot of holidays. Lisa never once questioned it. Can a copper be that thick that this money is flying into the house and you don't even notice? There you go. So Betsy, after Becky says she's going to blackmail Lisa and take Lisa down with her, Betsy goes to visit Becky. Betsy is the daughter, and she says she wishes her mother was dead. This mother, not the other mother. And for some reason, Becky changes her mind about blackmailing Lisa, and she goes down 12 years. She gets found guilty in court, doesn't mention Lisa, bang, storyline done, we think. So, Jodi, Shona's new sister that didn't exist until this week, says she was in the crash and that's how she came to be at the hospital. But as said in other videos, the only people involved in that crash were the casts of Coronation Street and Emmerdale. Despite there being 10,000 cars on the road that day, they were the only ones in 2 counties that were involved. So we know she's lying about being in the crash, or at least we assume she is. If she was in the crash, then again it's bad writing, but we all know she wasn't. So she has a bruise. Now, she's supposed to have been in a crash. Of course she'd have a little bruisey on her army. Wouldn't this make sense that she'd have the odd little blemish here and there and not a perfect skin? Shona sees a bruise on her arm and goes into instant, what the hell happened? Why have you got a bruise? What's up? Abusive partner, apparently. Bad writing. Shona believes she was in the crash. So Shona wouldn't question a bruise on her arm. She'd just automatically assume it was from the crash. But there you go. So, big storyline. But we'll leave that for the next video. We've got a new massive one coming up next. Nice chat.